this is another, what we classify as a low cost franchise that we really like. So it's called Gotcha Covered. They do everything in terms of window treatments for residential and commercial properties. So blinds, shades, shutters, anything you can do to cover a window essentially. And they have everything from the basic blinds all the way to, Alexa controlled blinds that are pretty fancy and, they're pretty high ticket prices. So this particular franchise Gotcha Covered was started in 2009. Its parent company is called Five Star. I think it's Five Star Franchises. I'm not exactly sure, but it's a five-star brand. So Five Star is an umbrella company that has, I think, maybe 8 different home services franchises underneath its umbrella, and some pretty good ones. But Gotcha Covered, think of it almost as I'm sure people have heard of like a Budget Blinds. It's almost a competitor to Budget Blinds. But this one, they're a little bit smaller. They have 154 franchise units. This is one where you definitely start operating out of your home. So you would have a small van with product samples. It's like a mobile showroom, like we talked about in Floor Coverings International. But you would have a mobile showroom, and then you actually use subcontractors to do the installation. Now they'll train you on how to install all the products, and you can do some of that at the start just to kind of get a feel for it, and then you can hire on a W-2 employee to do the installs. But most people start out by subcontracting the work. So that's why you see that total investment between 103 and 136,000. It's pretty low because most of it is just that one-time franchise fee that includes a lot of the training, and then your marketing expenses to get up and running. But your role as the owner is going to be doing those consultations at the start. So a lot of times, at least for homeowners, you're probably going to be meeting with women who are wanting to order new blinds or whatever for a home they just moved into, or maybe they're doing a renovation project. You do a consultation with the software that they have to help them visualize some things. You get a signed contract. They place a deposit for all the materials, and then you order the materials from Gotcha Covered's preferred suppliers. So once those materials come in, and you go and do the installs. The installs take a day typically, unless it's a massive project. So it's a pretty quick turnaround on your money, and I think the average ticket prices are around like $4,000, so still pretty big. But this one, if you look at the FDD, so the way they reported it here were, 90 reporting owners operating during the 2023 calendar year. So the average annual gross sales was just under 600,000, so 592,000. Let's see here. And then does it say the high? Okay, and the high was 3.69 million out of that group. So it's definitely something you can scale. I do think they have a decent amount of owners that, kind of do everything, and they haven't really scaled the business. But it is definitely something where you can grow it. And then I know some of their bigger owners have like showrooms, actual physical showrooms where they meet with clients as well. But typically the model is doing it from a mobile basis. And then what does that second graph show here? Okay, so this is new franchisees, basically 1 to 2 years in business. So, average annual sales are not super high for the first year or two in business. But it looks like, it is something let's see, the high doing 472,000. So, you don't have a ton of overhead. Like you don't really have employees either. So I imagine your margins on this business are pretty strong. But yeah, what's your take on this one, Tariq?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely a Budget Blinds competitor, and I'm a big fan of that brand overall, although hard to find any new territory with Budget Blinds. Definitely resales. We've had a client that bought a resale with them, right? Was it Michael with Budget Blinds?
We've had 2 people buy Budget Blinds resales, but yeah, one was Mike. I can't remember the other one. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So, I mean, I'm a fan of just the business model overall. I've just seen that the business model can do well. And yeah, it's definitely one of those businesses where what I've seen, especially in Budget Blinds, I would imagine it's a similar case here, is that you see a lot of just husband and wife teams that, they don't have much expenses at all. in their business. I mean, especially in that first year, you might. I've seen where literally, like, let's say the wife does the sales and the husband does the installs and vice versa. So they really, outside of just the cost of the product, the cost of goods sold, they don't have any other expenses outside of that, which is interesting. So I think for someone that, if you're the type of person where you're like, I don't know that I want to have a big team. I may just only, I want to have the flexibility to be as small or as big as I want and kind of dip my toes in the water. I think a business like this is a perfect opportunity. I mean, you're talking less than 150 grand all in to get up and running. And, 12 to 24 month average is 250 in sales with super low expenses. And then you're talking about, then after that, you got franchisees doing as high as 3.6 million in sales. I think it like, like this shows ultimate flexibility, really, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, I think the other part of it is I don't think some owners do it enough networking, because I do think that's a decent amount of this business is networking with like real estate agents and other referral partners that are just going to naturally send you clients. So it is a combination of like traditional like digital and print marketing, but I do know the owners that are the most successful, they say that they've done a good job in building those referral partnerships. Even with like home builders, think of, home builders where, they probably are going to subcontract the actual blinds installation. Those are the type of referral partners.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, if you guys are interested in learning more about, seeing if this franchise is available in your area, then you can go to franchiseempire.com/check territory. And you can set up a free 15-minute call with the team. Or if you just want to know, hey, what are some of the franchises that are available in my area that are solid, that match my skill set, my budget, etc., then go to franchiseempire.com/check territory. You'll be able to set up a free 15-minute call with the team to start the conversation overall. Keep in mind that you do need to have at minimum bare minimum net worth of at least $150,000 to schedule this call to be able to have this conversation, because that's going to be the lowest financial requirement that the franchisors that we work with and have access to will have in terms of financial requirements. If you don't know how to get funding or anything like that, don't worry about that. We can figure out how to help you with that. We have a ton of content on it, a ton of resources, referral partners, etc.